I basically embody the underdog of every kid out there. Why did I become the hate man of Schmoedown? Says who? Who hates me? I love myself. I think I'm doing great. I know movies. I know more than just about anybody else in the Schmo team. I like Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out and you woke up with the smelling salts. I don't know where I am. I'm a broken man. I'm a broken heavyweight champ who's at the end of his career. I don't know what's happening.
It's unbelievable where we are right now with JTE.
I mean, he could have been one of the best. He was no longer every man's hero. He became a heel of sorts.
JTE was the top of his game. When a man is broken, like JTE is most certainly broken, it will be a long haul, and I'm gunning for him. I'm hoping for the best. I hope one day that I'll see him back.
He was solid. His knowledge was impressive.
I don't like spitting in the wind, I don't like burning the American flag, and I don't like beating JTE.
He became Little Evil, and boy was he evil. And yes, he was little.
Joshua Herman Tapia was born under mysterious circumstances in Ecuador sometime in the winter of 1952. As a young child, he devoted many hours watching a ridiculous amount of movies, learning to speak English by repeat viewings of Rambo First Blood Part 2. In 2013, Josh joined the Schmoes No Movie Show as an intern, using a lie to get hired. From there, he became known for many things, including pronunciation errors, awkward encounters with women, but above all else, he was known for his extensive movie knowledge.
JTE, if there's one phrase I could use to describe him, it would be deceptive intelligence. You look at him and you think, oh, that's just a simple little kid, but inside that huge head of his is a fountain of knowledge, a lot of desire, and some jumbled quotes.
Who the hell knew it? He knows movies, because the truth is, that's all he knows. That's all he knows. You ask him questions about his mom and his dad, and he thinks that they're fictional movie characters.
The JTE I knew back in his prime, now I just look at him and I just feel sad. I mean, he came in the other night and we had a little conversation and I had to go in the corner and cry.
When he originally came to us, he wasn't JTE. He wasn't this huge movie trivia creature. He was JTI. He was Josh the intern. He was just a little boy that looked like he belonged in a Charles Schulz comic strip.
I looked up to JTE. I mean, he's older than me. I mean, I'm taller than him. It's kind of like a little bit of a weird dynamic, but God.
In 2014, he was trying to get respect. That's what JTE wanted. JTE just wanted the schmoes, because this is a guy that went from JTI to Roddy Piper, the late Roddy Piper, slapping him in the face. He was like Rodney Dangerfield. There was no respect. So it was the trivia was the way for JTE to get his respect.
I mean, the things that come out of his mouth are just, they're too easy to set up joke-wise.
He's a good guy. Smart, passionate, and then he was nothing.
He showed up on our doorstep telling little white lies about his past, and he was adorable. He was too cute to not take in. And then he became JTE. And the only comparison I can make is when Alex Rodriguez went to the Yankees. He got a big head, got a big ego, got more money, got more women, more drugs, started cheating, started lying. Sure, he got a ring, but the soul paid a dear price for that. And I think he's still paying it.
What kind of person is JTE? You know, I like to leave that to my enemies, because I feel like no one knows you closer than your enemies. Not your family, not your mother, not your father. Your enemies get to see you in your truest form, which is in the form of battle. So therefore, don't ask me that question. Ask my enemies. Did I lie to get on? Yeah, I did. Because I was watching a couple guys who knew movies. But I cannot help but feel like there was something missing from the show. Somebody that knew everything about movies. So really, I lied my way down the show to make this show better. Because who knows movies more than me? Nobody. You know, a lot of people ask me, why do you take so much crap when I first started on the Schmo Show? The thing is, every hero has his journey, and they must go through their trials and tribulations. Always think about Homer's The Odyssey. The hero did not just become a hero. He had to earn it. And my Odyssey is very similar to that of Homer's.
JTE studied films ferociously, spending countless hours paying attention to every detail of every movie he could get his hands on. Even Kangaroo Jack. You remember Kangaroo Jack. It was a bizarre film revolving around a kangaroo stealing a bright red jacket containing $50,000 of mob money. Jerry O'Connell and Anthony Anderson frantically try and catch the kangaroo before Michael Shannon kills them. There's even a part where the kangaroo starts rapping and, what? Oh, sorry. In the summer of 2014, the Schmoes created a movie trivia tournament that would prove to be one of a kind. Because no one was actually asking for this. But alas, it was created. JTE, of course, viewed the tournament as a prime opportunity to finally gain something he had never yet obtained in his life. Respect.
You kind of look at it like if you compare it to the UFC, Stephan Bonnar against Forrest Griffin in The Ultimate Fighter, that fight, that was JTE and Cobbster. Those two guys, they started. That was the first trivia match. That was the inception of the Schmoedown.
I really am responsible for the Schmoedown. I will never forget when Cobbster first joined and Christian was like, I need to think of some way, to introduce him to people. And I was like, well, what if we did like a trivia battle? He'll probably tell you he thought of it.
And it was also the best moment in life in the Triceratops tops.
JTE, what type of dinosaur was sick in Jurassic Park? What kind of dinosaur?
Triceratops.
Oh, no! Triceratops! I win!
What is it?
I don't believe it, baby! I don't believe what I just saw! JTE dropped the word! Mispronunciation in the history of dinosaurs! Triceratops for the loss!
People always ask me, did you say it, wrong on purpose? I don't want to tell you what's going on behind the scenes, okay? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
I mean, this guy, he's just a walking comedy machine. He doesn't even know it. He just says hello and you laugh and doesn't even realize what's happening. That's the beauty of what JTE has.
My job being a part of this team is to inspire people. I'm kind of amused in that way.
I mean, after JTE squeezed by Cobbster, we said, okay, look, this kid can play. Sure, he got dominated by Finstock in a Rocky movie trivia contest, but he bounced back from that, and the Cobbster win is what we all as Schmoes looked at him and said, okay, this guy's not going to be a tomato can.
When Hulk Hogan started talking about G.I. Joe's real American hero, that was JTE. He carried an American flag wherever he went. And little did we know, the guy's actually from Ecuador.
So the tournament happens, and somehow he beats the kid, which that almost was just a complete nightmare, but somehow he did it.
It was kind of like my parade to the Schmoeville community, showing I'm not just some intern, I'm not just an engineer at that point. I really am the most knowledgeable when it comes to movies on the show.
The next thing you know, you had him going up against Mark Ellis. Mark Ellis got every question right.
I'll give it to the guy. He threw a perfect game that day, and yet it wasn't perfect enough to beat JTE. That's what he can do when he applies himself, when he's focused.
No one thought I was going to win that match. And everyone says, oh, he hit the perfect game. How is it a perfect game if you lose? For me, the perfect game is if you walk away a victor, and he didn't. I walked away the victor, so if anything, I pitched a perfect game. And
then what happened? JTE lost in the semifinals to Reilly. Reilly, it's like his ghost, it's that thing, it's over his shoulder, it's the monkey on his back. He can't get rid of Mark Reilly. And I think Mark Reilly ruined his life.
Yeah, I did lose the first Schmoedown to Mark Reilly. Like one of the great Greek heroes, Achilles, every warrior has a weakness. In this case, the weakness was stupidity. A stupidity of the question that was asked. I got the Van Damme category, which I was like, okay, I got this. Then the question was something with like what sports team was playing during the movie. Again, my Achilles heel is stupidity from other people.
JTE miraculously found himself climbing the Schmoedown ranks. However, in typical Patriots fashion, controversy struck. The cheating allegations were disheartening, to say the least, and JTE had to turn to the one man who was always in his corner. His attorney was Finstock, which of course made absolutely no sense whatsoever, as Finstock had not been legally allowed to practice law since 2004. But they made it work, resulting in the strangest trial in human history.
controversial. We put him on trial. And that's where it all changed, because Finstock defended him. Finstock defended him because everyone thought JTE was a cheater.
Something that distinguishes a winner from a loser is when a winner loses, he walks away. When a loser loses, they look for any kind of loophole or a mistake, or they'll fabricate something to try to save face.
That's the first time you saw Little Evil come out, was that little cheating skunk when he looked over and he saw Ellis's answer. He says he didn't, but he did. You look at it, you slow that down, you see the footage, he looks.
I beat Mark Ellis and that didn't fit into their plan. So they basically did a witch hunt and came up with these, ooh, I looked at his paper. I don't need to cheat, okay? I am a winner through and through.
Nonetheless, his buddy Finstock got him off.
The real heroes are the people that look past the losers and see the real winners. Bobby Finstock came to my aid, because Bobby Finstock, say what you will about him, you know, we've had some history at our tag team match. He sees right through the bullshit. And when he sees the injustice being done, especially to someone who's a winner, he's gonna make sure those losers do what they always do, lose.
The trial of JTE, it was one of the shining moments in my career. I knew he didn't cheat. I know the guy. I love this guy. He's one of my best friends. People always thought I was just this idiot who talked nonsense. But when I put that Bob Ross wig on, I showed everybody what I can do. And from the opening statement, when I said, I'm a firm believer in trial and error, and I believe my client is on trial, it's in error. I wouldn't have put all that hard work in. I wouldn't have put that 45 minutes in on the way into the Schmoes to, you know, work on the trial like that. I wanted to get my friend off of being accused of something that I know he didn't do, because I was there. He beat Mark Ellis fair and square. That was Mark Ellis's fault for getting every question right and still losing, which is, by the way, I don't know how that happens. That's when I started to really take him under my wing, as being like, this guy's got something. I think he left my tutelage about 2 or 3 months short of making him a complete and utter legend.
In 2015, the Schmoedown tournament was modified to include team matches. This enabled Josh to team up with his comrade, Finstock, who was available due to a generous work release program. It was safe to say that no one on the planet believed this team would last very long. Team Box Office Breakdown somehow continued to surprise, piling on upset after upset. It all culminated in the most unlikely finals appearance against Team Schmoes.
Once I had my victory in the trial of JTE, which was a joke to begin with, really, I was flying at all-time high. I made a new friend, a new brother, in Bobby Finstock. We started a hit show called Box Office Breakdown with Sarah Stretton. Almost every day, people come to me just saying how you were robbed. I can't believe that question. It was bullshit. But I knew I had a chance to redeem myself in the tag team tournament.
He single-handedly carried the dead weight known as Finstock through a sea of questions in the movie trivia Schmoedown doubles tournament.
It started to go right and wrong at the same time. No one thought that him and Finstock would beat Tiffany and John Campea. No one thought that could happen. I mean, Finstock, for lack of a better word, is a moron.
But I did answer manuscript.
We went with his manuscript.
Okay. And for
We bet 16.
Yeah.
And we said a bottle of wine.
The answer and the winners going into the finals.
That's it.
Box Office Breakdown going to the finals!
I've said it and I'll say it again. I know more than Mark and Christian put together. And I was looking forward to proving it in the ring.
Sure, Finstock was there. He was sitting next to JTE. That's about as much as he contributed.
And everyone was like, oh no, Campea, oh, what a beast he's gonna be. He was a chihuahua. He was nothing. We eliminated him and Tiffany easily. And then this is where I think Mark and Christian saw what we could do in the ring. And they were like, we gotta do something to slow these guys down. We can't see these guys in the finals. And I think they purposely made sure we had 2 matches in one day.
I mean, JTE impressed the hell out of me. I mean, the fact that he went through the teams that he went through, carrying Finstock like he was some sack full of potatoes. He beat top 10, who beat me and Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell has a belt right now. I mean, it was impressive.
Now, we were on a wave of just winning that was unheard of, I think, in most sports today. Mark and Christian, they knew how they were scared. Imagine in football, someone's gonna go hit the field goal to win the game. What do to ice them? They take a timeout. Let them sit there and think about it for a little while. Imagine if you're watching a football game and they took a timeout, and another timeout, and another timeout, and another timeout, and another timeout. After an hour worth of timeouts, that field goal kicker is gonna miss that field goal. That's basically what the Schmoes did to us. They made us wait 2 to 3 months between Phase 5 and Phase 6 of Schmoes Know to have our championship match. We were on a tear.
But JTE was on fire in that tournament. Adding insult to injury, he answers almost every question right in the team match, and Finstock shits the bed.
We lost by 1 question. 1 little question. So once again, stupidity was my Achilles heel. Not my stupidity, the people who come up with these questions.
After 2 consecutive disappointing finishes in the Schmoedown tournaments, opportunity once again presented itself to JTE when it was announced that an actual league of Schmoedowns was being created at Collider Video. It was like Christmas morning for JTE, but as if JTE's parents had actually bought him gifts this time. Despite his overwhelming confidence, his misfortunes would continue, resulting in a losing streak that would do damage to something once thought indestructible: his ego.
Then the win stopped. No more women, no more drugs, no more money, no more trips to Vegas in the middle of the night.
But because JTE scored so many points, we said that when the show came back, JTE would get a single shot at Mark Reilly, the guy who beat him in the semifinals of the 2014 tournament.
I mean, I can't help but feel a little responsible. I mean, I destroyed him in the Schmoedown twice. You could actually go to the moment when I spun Star Wars. That was the final straw that broke his soul. The light in his eyes just flickered off.
I lost to Reilly. There's no way to go around it. He got Star Wars. The one category on that wheel, which only contains 6 to 7 movies? Really?
I mean, look, I want to believe as much as anybody that JT can get back to being that #1 contender that he always was. He was never born to be a champion, and that was never the point. The point with JTE was showing all of us that I can go up against the best in the world and almost win.
Falls from graces are never easy. Something happened, something clicked in his brain. It's really hard to watch, and you think, can it get any worse?
So I said, give me one of the Schmoes. Give me one of the Schmoes, because I almost beat both of them single-handedly. And Mark Ellis stepped up to the plate. I'll give him some credit for not shying away. I think most people that were asked probably were like, oh no. It was an epic battle. Punch for punch, answer for answer.
He still hasn't found that desire. If his life is a Rocky movie, right now he's in the scene in Rocky 3 when Rocky's just staring into the mirror and trying to find himself, and he just can't seem to beat Carl Weathers in wind sprints on a beach, wanting to caress Apollo Creed in the water, but he just can't get wet.
And I lost in overtime. I'm pretty sure they made those rules up right on the spot, because it was like whoever says their name first says the answer. And I'm like, okay, fine. All this fighting is going to come down to who can say their name quicker, and it's a tagline for the movie Hitch.
I think he can go up against the bests, and I think he can give me another run for my money before I beat him in sudden death again. I think he can do that.
I was hungrier than ever. And then the Schmoedown tournament was coming back up to fight Dan Murrell, the current champ. And in order to get to the tournament, I had to beat Josh Macuga. Josh Macuga, I said, bring it on. I want to say I went in there and knew I was going to win and all this, and I was just like, you know what? This is going to be a tough competition. I didn't. I said to myself, there's no way I'm losing this match. And the second you tell yourself there's no way you can lose, it's usually when you lose.
Did I want to beat him? Sure. But I wasn't happy when I beat him. I mean, yeah, I yelled, I screamed, I took off all my clothes, but can we cut real quick? Do you mind if we cut? This is tough, man.
I mean, there are tragedies. You hear the word tragedy, you think of, sure, Titanic. You think of these athletes blowing out their hammies playing in the big game. But when you now go to the history books and you open that book up under tragedy, JTE's picture is right there.
One time he could have been the people's... One time he could have been the people's champion.
After the loss to Macuga, JTE went off the radar, alienated himself from all family, friends, and bus drivers. There were reports of him breaking into Best Buys at 3 in the morning and stealing obscure Blu-rays, but the reports were never confirmed. One potential eyewitness claimed to only hear the words "the accused" over and over, muttered by an unknown suspect.
Macuga does it! Oh,
Look at that
The
hug.
answer was the accused.
Wow, look at that
The
body.
answer was the accused. The wild man advances.
It's between those two.
After the dust had settled, people everywhere wondered if Josh could ever again regain his former glory, except him. He remained as confident as ever. Although he did achieve a victory in the team matches against the Mega Powers, JTE quickly reverted back to the douchey, cocky, New England Patriot-loving persona that attributed to his downfall. JTE, for some reason, then called out Olympian Cody Miller to a Schmoedown, posing the question of whether or not there's any integrity whatsoever left in this man. What does the future hold for JTE? Where does he go from here? Regardless, it's clear that his destiny is to... Destiny? Seriously? This is ridiculous. It's movie trivia. Fucking movie trivia. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. Talk to my agent. I'm done.
If I could give him advice as far as what he's going to do in the future, I'd say stop wearing the Patriots jersey. Maybe get a new hat.
So now I don't know what to think about what's next for JTE. I mean, you know, a lot of us have talked about it. I think he'll recover. Yeah, he'll will he recover? It's just so sad.
Can JT get back to being his old self in the movie trivia Schmoedown? And my response to that is, I don't care about movie trivia. I care about JTE. This is more than a game show. This is a little boy's life. Excuse me. A little boy's life is on the line here. And I don't know where that little boy is right now. But I know he's damn good at movie trivia. And I know he's got a little bit of evil in him, but I think he can go back to being every man's hero. Because at one time, he was my hero. He was my hero.
Look, what's the future with JT? I said it, and I think that I'll stand to it. If he comes back, if we find him, if he can find himself, he needs to quit singles. He needs to join Jeff Sneider like he did. Did you see the happiness in his face when Jeff Sneider came out from the decision? JT thought we were going to leave him there all by himself, and Jeff Sneider comes out and they hug. And this is someone who was as despised as JTE is. I think that these two, the Patriots, should make their run. I think it would be a crucial era with all the heavyweights that we have right now in the Schmoedown. I think JTE should take time off and go for these. No, it's upside down.
You know, people ask me, you know, how do I deal after all these highs and these lows? You know, am I still the champion I believe I am? And the answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. I was walking down the street in Los Angeles. A fan came and asked me the same question. He said, do you know, after everything you've been through in the Schmoedown, the tournament, losing the way you did, unfairly some would say, do you feel like you're still that hero, that everyman's hero, that champion amongst champions? And I told him I'm not sure. And then as I kept walking down the road, I noticed something. He started following me. People follow heroes. And I'd run into more people, and they would start following me. Until I had a group of people following me wherever I went. If that's not a hero, what is?